If you have ever worked with any other programming language, then you're aware of variables and constants and that there are different types of data that you can store, such as numbers, strings, characters, etc. In this course, we won't be going into details of what variables and constants are because we expect the learners to have some experience with object-oriented programming languages. But we would be discussing the different data types that are available in Dart. The Dart language has built-in support for 9 data types such as numbers, strings, booleans, lists, sets, maps, runes, symbols, and the value of the object null. However, for this course, we will just care about these 5 data types, and this would be enough for us to get started with Flutter. Let's start with the very first one, the numbers. Basically, just numbers like 3456, 900, 5.5, etc. Now in Dart, there are usually two types of numbers. One, integers that are represented by int are simply just whole numbers such as 55, 700, and floating point numbers that are represented by double such as 5.5. In some other languages, this could have been represented by float. In case you're having to store some data which could either be a whole number or a decimal number, then you can use the third type, which is num, which can store both int or double values. When you're working with int or double or even num, Dart provides some default methods and properties that you can make use of in your use cases, such as if you want to check if the given integer number is an odd number or an even number. Or maybe you want to round up a double number and convert it into an integer. So here you can use the round method. Let's run this and see the output. So in this case, the number is not an even number, so it is false, which is correct. And the double number is rounded up to 6, which is an integer whole number. To know more about such default properties and methods, you can head over to api.dart.dev and search for the data type that you want to learn about. So in this case, I can learn more about double class and see the number of methods, public methods, and public properties. Let's move on to strings now. You must have worked with strings in all of the programming languages that you have worked with, and in Dart, it is no different. Strings are declared with a data type named string with a capital S and is used to represent a sequence of characters. The only difference might be how a string takes in a variable in its value. So let's move into Dartpad to show some examples. Now we have a variable called apple count that I want to be part of this message string value. And this could be something like I have 5 apples, I have 6 apples. So basically this variable needs to fit inside this message. So what we can do is that we can add this with a $sign and write the name of the variable, which in this case is apple count itself. And that's it. You basically added a variable in a part of a string value. So now if we run this, we basically have, I have 5 apples. If I make this 15, I have 15 apples. Correct. But this method of adding only works if you're trying to add an identifier or a variable like this. In case of an expression like apple count dot toString, it is not recognized anymore. In this case, if it's like an expression like this, you can use curly braces and wrap this expression within it. So if you're using an object of a class, this also works there. So if it's an identifier or a variable, then you can simply use a $, but otherwise you can use the curly braces and wrap the expressions within it. You can also do this like where you have the string value and then you use the plus sign, remove all the $signs and extras here, and then add the inverted commas for just the string parts. This is also possible, but this does not seem so readable anymore. The other method of string concatenation is more recommended. The string class also comes with a lot of useful methods to manipulate a string value, such as if you want to check if this particular string contains any word called or does this string start with the word never, or can we convert this string to an uppercase, or checking if the string is empty or not. As mentioned earlier, you can find the entire list of methods and properties in this website api.dev, and here you can see all the information, the constructors of property, the public methods, all of it is available here for you to read.